Luka Doncic is the face of the NBA. At least he should be.
I'm going straight to the top. Just put the stack on the clock. I am Ray Allen's a shot. I'm going straight to the top.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Mike here, Sports and the Real Podcast, coming at you once again. Appreciate you guys joining me as always. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share. Also, check out the website, sportsandthereal.tv. A lot of great stuff happening. As always, I appreciate the support. But I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I was not planning on recording this soon after the conference championships. All right. I was going to wait till the conference championships were over and then, wait till about when the finals was about to start to record my next episode. Damn it, man. I couldn't wait. I'm sorry, y'all. I could not wait, and I got to get some stuff off my chest. I am hot. I don't know what this feeling is, man. So I'm gonna just jump right into it. I apologize. I'm gonna go on a couple of rants. I'm upset. I cannot stand. There's a couple of things I can't stand in basketball. All right. I cannot stand people who don't compete. So I can't stand the lack of competitiveness. I can't stand people on a basketball court who don't compete and just let their asses get handed to them by another team. I can't stand it. There is no reason on a basketball court you should ever let another team just wash you off the basketball court, spank you, take away your competitive spirit. That should never happen in sports. There's nothing more I hate than your competitive spirit being taken away in sports. Especially in a freaking elimination game as an NBA player getting paid millions of dollars to play basketball. It's win or go home, but you come out in this game 5 all lethargic and not ready to go at all. I watched this Mavs and Timberwolves game 5, for those who watched. If you didn't watch, lucky for you. But from the very beginning, I knew the Timberwolves were going to lose because they came out, they just weren't ready to play from the very beginning. But as the game went on, the effort was just never there, and their competitive spirit was just gone, was just taken away from them. They looked like a team that was just happy to win Game 4 and not get swept. Yeah, we're excited. Woo, woo, woo. We didn't get swept. We just didn't want to get that. They actually said that after Game 4. Like, we didn't want to get swept. Okay, good. So what about Game 5? So I cannot stand people, individuals with just a lack of competitive spirit, because me personally, I compete at everything with anybody. No matter how much better you are than me at basketball or ping pong or checkers, chess. I don't even know how to play chess. But I can't stand just sitting there and letting somebody just stomp all over me and not react. And that's exactly what the damn Timberwolves did. And I was so upset watching that game that I'm sorry, y'all. I couldn't wait to put this podcast together next week. I had to do it right now to get this crap off my chest, man. This is unbelievable. I can't imagine coaching a team and we're just sitting there letting somebody hand it to us like that. Just give us the business, raw dogging us. That's unbelievable. But that's exactly what the Timberwolves did, man. It's so frustrating watching these dudes, man. And that's the problem with these modern NBA players. People talking about, Michael Jordan played in an era and he dominated plumbers, blah, 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 and he wouldn't be able to dominate this era. The reason why Michael Jordan, the reason why Kobe Bryant and these guys will be able to dominate this era is because their competitive spirit is just so much higher than these dudes playing today. These dudes playing today are okay with coming into an elimination game and getting washed and not doing anything about it, because they're getting paid millions of dollars anyway. Same thing happened with the Suns a couple years ago in a Game 7, just coming out flat and getting their asses blown out by Luka and the Mavs. These dudes have zero competitive spirit. So you call us old heads and say, we're just Michael Jordan fanboys. No, the reason Michael Jordan dominates today is not just because of his great skill and ability. It's because of his freaking mindset, man. He's coming out there and he's pretty much giving you the business every time, and you would be so upset you would want to take your ball and go home. So if Luka and Kyrie can essentially make you give up in an elimination game, so would Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and these guys. I don't want to take the spotlight off of the Mavs, but I'm so embarrassed for NBA basketball and for the Minnesota Timberwolves to sit there in a win-or-go-home game to watch their team give up. Where is the competitive spirit? And coaches talk about that all the time. Like, show some damn fight, man. Fight back. Do something. It's wild, dog. I can't. It's embarrassing. I don't know what. I had to get that off my chest, all right? So that's one thing I hate. I hate dudes who don't compete on a basketball court, no matter how good you think you are. If you don't compete, you're going to get beat. And you're going to get embarrassed, even by teams who aren't that much better than you. Like the Mavs are not that much better than the Timberwolves. Pretty evenly matched series. Yeah, the Timberwolves got Kyrie and Luka, two of the greatest scorers ever on the same team. They have that advantage, but otherwise, it wasn't that big of a mismatch to the point where in a win-or-go-home game, you're getting smacked and the other team's up by 30 and embarrassing you on your home floor? On your home floor, not even in Dallas. In Minnesota, you get your ass embarrassed, and you're okay with that. Well, I guess I'm still getting paid $40 million next year. KAT, Rudy. And people have been talking about this all postseason long, man. Like, Karl Anthony Towns, really talented dude. Number one pick in the draft for a reason. Really talented dude. But you know what? Jimmy freaking Butler was right. And Jimmy Butler can be an ass. Jimmy Butler can be an ass. But you know what? He was right. KAT is not the type of cat you want to go to war with, man. Unfortunately. He just ain't. He ain't got that competitive spirit. And unfortunately for Anthony Edwards, he might need some new teammates, man. He needs some more dogs with him. And I'm not absolving Ant from any of the blame. Like, Ant, didn't play a great series at all, I don't think, right? And I'm going to talk about that later. But at least a man wanted to compete. You're watching these guys, they don't really want to compete. Like, go at somebody, man. Do something. Do something. And it just never did. So the Mavs was cruising the whole game. Never really threatened at all. Because the Timberwolves didn't come to play. I can't stand that, man. I cannot stand that. It's just freaking embarrassing, dog. If you've ever played any sport, basketball, football, tennis, whatever, man, like, the point of sports is to compete. Like, we do this stuff to compete. There's something in us that we want to compete. And everyone who's ever played any sport, right, for the love of the sport, you play it because you love competition. You enjoy that stuff, man. It's not just about putting the ball in the basket. You enjoy competing. You enjoy beating somebody and challenging somebody and somebody challenge you in the back and forth. You enjoy that crap, man. So if you're about to get sent home from the NBA playoffs and you don't get up to go compete, like, you're not a competitor, bro. Find a new job. Because NBA basketball ain't for you. So I don't know if Anthony Edwards is going to be able to play with some of these dudes on his roster because they're just not competitors. You need some mother effing dogs to win NBA championships, dude. You just can't roll out there and say, oh, I'm talented, I'm taller, I'm bigger, I'm good. Now, you need some mother effers. Mother effers. I'm trying not to cuss so bad because I don't feel like editing this podcast and trying to beep out everything. All right? Forgive me. Freaking embarrassing, man. I can't not. I cannot, man. Second thing I can't stand. And I'm gonna apologize to y'all again. I had this podcast planned out, what I wanted to talk about, but I'm too hot to stick to the agenda. All right? Too hot. Second thing I can't stand. Big men who play small. I cannot stand big men who play small. Big men who don't play big. So Karl Anthony Towns is 7 foot or damn near it. Rudy Gobert is 7 foot, 7'1", 2, whatever he is. And you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell this series that those guys were 7 feet. Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford played much bigger than those dudes. And that's the point I want to drive home here. There's a difference between being tall and playing big. You can be tall. Not every tall person plays big. And Karl Anthony Towns is tall, but he doesn't play big. He proclaimed himself to be the biggest shooting big man ever. You could take that crown, bro. You could take the crown as the best shooting big man ever. But you know what the Wolves needed? Somebody to take their 7 foot tall behind down in the paint and bang Lively and bang Daniel Gafford down low. That's what they needed. They needed a big man with freaking post moves who's going to put a shoulder and an elbow into these dudes and put them in the freaking rim. That's what they needed. And that's the problem with the modern big men nowadays is that, yeah, they can shoot better than the dudes of the 90s, than the centers of the 90s. They can shoot three-pointers better. But you know what shooting three-pointers does? It's a mindset thing, man. As a big man, if you're shooting three-pointers, you likely don't have the mindset to go down in the paint and bang with the big boys and dominate in the paint and use your height. Use your size. So you end up benefiting the other team because you're a 7-footer just shooting tray balls all day. And if your tray balls don't go in, then what? You're done. You're done. Because you don't have the mindset to convert from three-point shooter to let me get my ass in the paint and go dunk on some fools. Get these guys in foul trouble. There's no reason why Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford shouldn't be in foul trouble the whole series when you got 2 7-footers. No, one of them is jacking up three-pointers. The other one has zero offensive game. So what do when you have 2 7-footers that are useless in the paint where it's most beneficial to be tall? Like basketball has always benefited tall people. And that's why I'm hoping somebody like Wemby doesn't just fall in love with crossing over hezzies and shooting tray balls. I'm hoping Coach Popovich gets Wemby's butt in the paint and say, hey, man, to be the best you can be, you got to take advantage of this tall-ass frame you got. And Karl Anthony Towns is sitting there jacking up threes for most of the series. At least for game 4, he drove the paint a little bit. But he's jacking up threes, but it's not his mindset to live in the paint all day. His mindset is to always venture out to the three-point line to the point where the Mavs are like, okay, shoot them threes. We'll contest. We'll contest. And if you make it, you make it. Likelihood is that you ain't going to be draining like that, especially since you've been off the whole series anyway. So Karl Anthony Towns is a really good player. He's a really good player, but one, his competitive spirit isn't there. 2, right, Jimmy Butler was right, soft. 3, he's just a jump shooter, man, at 7 feet. He got the skill. It's not the skill that he doesn't have. It's the will. Karl Anthony Towns has the skill to pay the bills. He has all the moves in the world. He has the game. He doesn't have the will, the motor to impose his will on 2 dudes who are 3, 4, 5 inches shorter than him. And Charles Barkley and Shaq and these guys keep imploring him, get your behind down low and bang these boards, man. Get these dudes in foul trouble, foul them out. Make the game easier for your team instead of jacking up threes. But he always reverted back to his true self, which is, I'm the best big man shooter ever. That's embarrassing. And that's what separates the Joker from all these guys, right? All these other big men who are shooters or whatever, that's what separates the Joker from them. Like, the Joker, he knows he can shoot threes. But you know what? Freaking Nikola Jokic always reverts to getting his behind in the paint and his up and unders, his hook shots, like banging dudes down low. Because he knows his size is the greatest advantage he'll ever have. Not his three-point shooting, even though he's a really, really good three-point shooter. Nikola Jokic knows that his size is the biggest advantage that he has. And unfortunately, for Karl Anthony Towns and so many other big men in the league nowadays, they just want to be guards and jack up threes and step backs, when really their biggest advantage is their height. There's a reason why you're 7 feet, man, and the basket is 10 feet tall. Get your behind in the paint, drop step, shoulder, elbow somebody out the way, bang on them. That should be the move of every 7-footer in the NBA nowadays. But no. Everybody wants to shoot three-pointers, jack up shots. So I hate that, man. I hate that for Anthony Edwards. Again, I'm not absolving him, but I hate that he has to sit there and watch dudes who are so tall, in KAT's case, so gifted offensively, yet just not use their gifts, not use what they've been blessed with. That's why I don't care for when I'm not impressed by big men shooting threes. I could care less. I can care less. I want my big men to have a shot, no doubt, right? I don't want you to be one-dimensional, to only, especially nowadays, you can't only know how to dunk. So, yeah, have a shot, extended range a little bit. But I don't need my big man to be a tremendous three-point shooter. I would prefer, if I had a switch pick between the two, I would take the big man who can get down there in the paint and bang somebody and dunk on them and have low post moves and zero outside game than the other way around. Like a big man who has three-point shooting but can't get down low and do anything with it, you can keep that guy. P.J. Washington should not be able to guard Karl Anthony Towns. Hell, Derek Lively is too skinny for Karl Anthony Towns. Daniel Gafford is too small for Karl Anthony Towns. He should have been in the post all day, every day, giving them dudes the work. But no, he wasn't. Why? Because that's not his mentality. Don't tell me nothing about Rudy Gobert being in the paint. If that was his mentality, the coach would have sat Rudy Gobert down, and it would have been KAT going to Burt, getting busy on these boys. And it would have been a matchup problem, but it's not there. So Minnesota has two big men who have forgotten that they're actually big. Bro, you're tall. You're 7 feet. Ain't too many 7-footers out there in the world, man. Take advantage of that. Take advantage, bro. On offense and defense. Take advantage. Muscle these dudes around, man. Do something. I can't stand it, man. That's what's wrong with the modern NBA game. You don't have enough big men to punish small ball. That's why the Warriors were able to go on their dynasty run. There weren't any big men to punish them. And now Joker and Embiid are like the only big men that can punish little dudes, little lineups. But Embiid's always hurt, so it's really just the Joker. Again, embarrassing. Embarrassing. Don't tell me nothing about this league being better, bro. It's embarrassing that you have two 7-footers and you can't take advantage of two dudes who are like 6'8", 6'9". Are you kidding? Derek Lively's skinny as hell. KAT should be bodying this guy all damn day. But he doesn't have the mentality, the mindset to get your behind in the paint and rough somebody up is just not there. It's not there. And he's getting his shot blocked by Daniel Gafford. Going up for soft-ass layups, getting rejected. Getting his junk sent out of bounds as a big man. Should never happen. Never happen. I'm telling you, when I was going to say a bad word I had to bleed. These dudes got me upset watching this game. Really watching this whole series has been upsetting. It's sad, man. It is so sad. So those are the two things I wanted to rant about. But I got more to talk about. So let me keep going. Let me get my composure and keep going. Ooh. You know something else I can't stand? I can't stand being gaslit. And these people in the media try to gaslight us into making us feel bad for saying that Rudy Gobert is getting exposed on defense. Oh, he plays great team defense. Oh, he deters dudes from the rim. Oh, this or that. Oh, he has a great plus minus. Oh, the Minnesota Timberwolves defensive rating is much better with Rudy on the court than Rudy off the court. Oh, this and all of these excuses. But damn it, man, don't gaslight me, bro. I can see. I have eyes too. I can see what's happening. I can see what's happening, man. Don't gaslight me into trying to make me believe that Rudy Gobert should actually be a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. If you're going to be a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, you got to be able to stop somebody, something, some greatness you got to be able to stop. So you can't make excuses and say, oh, well, Rudy Gobert got played off the court in Utah because the team around him on the perimeter wasn't good. Okay. Come to Minnesota, well, he's getting played off the court still. It's not that he's total garbage on defense, but there's no way the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year is pretty much useless against a team like the Dallas Mavericks. Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford had more impact on defense in the paint than Rudy Gobert did this series. Tell me I'm wrong. All of you people sticking up for Rudy Gobert, tell me I'm wrong. Show me the tape. Tell me that Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively didn't have more impact protecting the paint than what's supposed to be Rudy Gobert's expertise. But I'm supposed to believe he's the greatest defender since sliced bread. I'm supposed to believe this guy is Bill Russell. No. Negative. I know what I'm seeing, so don't gaslight me with all these numbers and analytics and plus minus and on-off stats and defensive rating. No, I know what I'm seeing, bro. He gets exposed. No, I'm not expecting Rudy Gobert to guard Luka. But you made the excuse that he couldn't guard Joker. So if you can't guard Joker, you can't guard Luka. As you get further and further into these series in the playoffs, you're going to be playing the best of the best. You're not going to be playing mid dudes anymore. You're going to be playing the best of the best, dudes who are focused, who are trying to win, who have been training for this stuff all their lives. Like, if you can't do anything with the Joker, the big man your size, and you can't do anything with Luka, the smaller guy, not your size, then what is your purpose on the basketball court as a defender who provides nothing on the offensive end? What is your use on the basketball court? So I don't care about the plus-minus stats, dog. Rudy probably should have been sitting on the bench most of the series. I know it would have hurt his feelings, but that probably should have been the case. Don't tell me nothing about, well, he protects the rim and this and that. Again, if you watch this series, the Dallas Mavericks big men, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, had way more of an impact protecting the rim than Rudy did. Kyrie was getting layups. Luka did whatever he wanted. At least those guys, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, could move their feet and press up on defense, double on defense, force Anthony Edwards to give up the ball, recover. Like, Rudy Gobert literally could only do one thing, and that's play drop coverage. And he got exposed over and over and over. So don't tell me, well, you don't know what you're watching. No, I know what I'm watching. The benefits of his drop coverage and his deterring people from the paint wasn't it. It ain't it this series. It wasn't it this series. Because he absolutely did not look as good protecting the paint like somebody like Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. Like, if people can hunt you on defense, maybe you shouldn't be the defensive player of the year. Not 4 times. Not 4 times. So don't come out here telling me all these things, dog. Save that. Save your analysis, bro. We all got eyes. We saw what we saw. We saw it. Good defender, but when you need him the most, Rudy Gobert is not going to be able to help you out. And especially in this NBA, when you need him the most to be able to help out on the perimeter or to be able to guard somebody like the Joker in the paint, one-on-one defense, it won't work. Help defense, for sure, he's there. But at some point, you got to be able to guard somebody one-on-one. And unfortunately, Rudy ain't your guy for that, man. So he really got played off the floor, but Minnesota didn't want to take him off. I don't know why. They were stubborn. They should have completely changed their game plan offensively and defensively. Should have been KAT getting his ass in the paint and figuring out a way to match the small ball lineup of the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, great roam defender. But at some point, when you get to it, man, when you get to this level of playoff basketball, you can't just be a drop defender, bro. You got to be able to stop somebody one-on-one, mano a mano. Stop the man in front of you. If the Joker is a center and he plays your position and Karl Anthony Towns, who's not a defender, can guard him better than you, that's a problem. That's a major problem. So please, media people, stop it. Stop making excuses. It was like that with the Jazz, and it's the same way with the Timberwolves. We watch basketball too. We know what he's good at. Unfortunately, what he's good at is not good when you get to this level. So you're going to struggle always with Rudy Gobert when you get to this level. Because when you get to this level, the best teams are always going to hunt him. They're always going to expose that he can't move his feet. Always. So, yeah, he'll win DPO, Defensive Player of the Year, based off the regular season, but that's about it. Come playoff time, best of the best, they're always going to expose him. They're always going to isolate him. And if he's only able to play drop coverage, Luka and these guys are just going to pull up and hit Jays. 3 balls, long twos that analytics doesn't like, mid-range. That's going to be open all day. You can never hide that. You can never hide that in today's NBA. And if you can't take advantage of the other team on offense, then yes, you will get played off the court. If Rudy was able to give you a strong 15 every game, 12 rebounds, 15 and 12 rebounds every game, you'll be okay with his lack of ability to move his feet and, getting hunted on defense a little bit. But he gives you 0 basically on offense. His rebounding doesn't really he doesn't dominate the boards like that for his height. So what the hell is he good for? I guess he wins DPOY though, Defensive Player of the Year. Don't tell me nothing about no defensive rating, no plus minus stats. He gets exposed every playoffs. And the Timberwolves, if they're going to be playing him like that, I don't know if they can win because defensively he's always going to be a liability against the best dudes because he's always going to get exposed. His feet are too slow. They're always going to attack that every time. Yes, don't come at me talking about, what he does well. Yeah, he does some things well. Really good defender. Rudy Gobert's not a scrub on defense. I'm not saying that. But against the best teams, he's not playable at all because they're going to go at him every time. Every time. I said I wouldn't spare Anthony Edwards, right? So Ant-Man, my guy. Listen, I'm still the leader of the Anthony Edwards fan club. I don't give a damn. He's still Michael Jordan's grandson. He's still Kobe Bryant's son. That's my man's. Like, he reminds me of the basketball I grew up watching, the dudes I fell in love with. But Ant-Man, he's young. He's 22 years old. So he's not, I'm not going to sit there and make excuses for Ant-Man. He's young. Obviously, right, the biggest thing for Minnesota, I'm going to say this, the biggest thing that Minnesota can do is get Ant-Man some help. Like Dallas got Luka some help, right? Because now that Dallas has Kyrie, a freaking killer, like, you can't really do much about it. You're going to double Luka? Okay, Kyrie's going to just knife you to death, bro. Like, he's going to slice your ass to death. So Minnesota needs a number two, a true number two, to play alongside Anthony Edwards. So I'm still the conductor of the Anthony Edwards train. I'm not hopping off. This dude's potential is through the roof. But this is a learning experience for Ant. And here's where Anthony Edwards can get better, all right? First of all, Anthony Edwards has to start playing a thinking man's game. Michael Jordan had to experience this as well. Kobe too. Like, all of these athletic guys who got the game, who got the skill. Luka plays a thinking man's game. Despite his incredible shot making, Luka Doncic plays an incredibly smart game. So Anthony Edwards is going to have to learn how to play a thinking man's game. Learn how to read the game. Before, like, obviously some of this stuff, is innate, right? You grow up playing like that and you develop this kind of sixth sense out. Like, Luka Doncic, like, grew up with that sense of as a basketball player. So I don't need Anthony Edwards to be Luka Doncic or LeBron in terms of his basketball IQ and his forward thinking and the way they see the game. He doesn't need to be the Joker. Anthony Edwards does not need to be the Joker in these guys as far as the way he sees the game and thinks the game. But he needs to improve in that sense. He needs to improve the way he reads the game, the way he reads double team, see them quickly, gets the ball out quickly, knows what moves to make, what passes to make, when to make the next pass, when to make the skip pass. Like, all of those things he needs to develop. Learn how to pass out of double teams faster. When they're coming, boom, get rid of the ball. Or when to hold on to it, draw them, and then make the pass. Like, incredibly skilled, incredibly athletic. But sometimes the dudes that are incredibly athletic, they need to learn that part of the game, to be a thinking man. So Anthony Edwards needs to learn how to process and read the game mentally to go to the next level. He also needs to learn how to play off of 2 feet. And I was watching him throughout the whole series, and I made a couple clips for on Twitter about this. And I'll post them here. Anthony Edwards, when he goes into the paint, he needs to learn how to, kind of like how Luka does, how Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does. He needs to be able to get into the paint and play off of 2 feet. A lot of times, he's running directly into the defender. And I know he's athletic, he's going to challenge, but he's making it tough on himself. Whereas he got better at this. In Game 4, he did this really well versus the first 3 games. But he needs to be able to get into the paint with the ball like Luka does, somebody on his back, settle down off of 2 feet, and make the right reads, whether to shoot, pass, pump fake, like all of that he needs to practice. And if I'm him, like I said, watch Luka, watch SGA. Because those guys are they've mastered the mid-range, they've mastered the patience of the mid-range, when to go, when to stop, when to shoot, when to pass. All those things Anthony Edwards can learn from watching those guys and get better at. We know you're athletic, and we know you just want to go up there and go yam on everybody. But if the refs aren't giving you the calls, the whistle's not going your way, you're going to have a tough time when these big dudes challenge and they're vertical. So I'm not jumping off the train. Absolutely not. But Anthony Edwards, if I were to give him advice, is learn to play the thinking man's game. Learn to read the game. Read the coverages. Anticipate what dudes are trying to do. And if he can get even good at that, if Anthony Edwards can get even good at reading the game and making passes, anticipating the plays, when to make the next pass or the skip pass, then he'll be unstoppable. Then he'll be Michael Jordan's son or Michael Jordan's grandson, Kobe Bryant's son. Then it's sky's the limit. Take over the NBA face of the league. But he's 22. I think he'll get there. The coaching certainly is, I think, in place in Minnesota to help him get there. So that's my advice for you, Ant-Man. Love you to death, bro. Love your competitive spirit. This dude didn't even go shake hands after the game 5. I don't mind. I don't know how people can get blown out or lose in an elimination game so painfully and then get up and go shake hands. I don't know. So I don't mind. But he's gonna catch some heat for that. Whatever. So yeah, Ant-Man. Learn to play the thinking games, man. Process. Use your mind more. Read the defense. Playing off of 2 feet in the mid-range. And after that, spaceships don't come equipped with rearview mirrors. That's what Andre 3000 say. For those who don't get that reference. But that yeah. So that's my thoughts on Anthony Edwards. Great playoff run. Still young. First deep playoff run. I'm sure he's going to be in the lab. He's going to come back better than ever. But Minnesota needs to do 2 things with him. Get him a number 2 and help him to play the thinking man's game. So that's what I had to say about Minnesota, man. Disappointing into the season. What I'm most mad about is really just dudes got to compete, man. Compete. Fight. And 7-footers who play small. Remember growing up, we used to always say, I wish I had your height. Man, I wish I was. Man, you're wasting your height. Man, KAT, you are wasting your height. Rudy Gobert, you are wasting your height. I wish I had your. I remember telling dudes that, like, man, I wish I was 6'5". These dudes are wasting their height. And it's disappointing as hell to see. On another note, the team they lost to, the Mavericks, turns out they were super underrated. That's a really good team. And people didn't really pay attention to them after that trade deadline, the moves they made. Listen, I watched the games, all right? But I didn't think those moves would pan out like this in the playoffs, but they really did. They really did. Their defense is really, really good now. And you can't stop Luka or Kyrie from getting buckets. So the Mavs were underrated. And listen, a lot of people were bagging Jason Kidd, all right, bagging on Jason Kidd. A lot of people were like, yo, Jason Kidd is going to be the reason Luka Doncic never wins a championship. Jason Kidd is this and that. He's not a good coach. Like, go back and read some of the commentary about dudes, whether it's media members, podcasters. Like, listen to some of this stuff that people were saying about Jason Kidd. Like, is he the right coach for Luka, this and that? He never got the credit that he deserved as a good coach. The same guy who essentially helped Giannis become who he is. He put the ball in Giannis's hand and said, hey, man, you get to initiate the offense. He never got the credit that he deserved for Giannis becoming who he became. And a lot of people were ready for him to get cut, to get released from his job in Dallas as the Mavericks head coach. But I'm so happy for J. Kidd because I've always thought the guy was super smart, especially as a player. And now his team is about to go to a finals. What y'all got to say now? But you're not going to hear any apologies. But I'm going to give props to Jason Kidd, man, because a lot of people were ready to get rid of these guys. Listen to the commentary the last couple years about Luka, man. They were saying Luka's playing by himself. Luka's coaching himself. People were ready to get rid of J. Kidd, bro. And look where he is now. Got his team on the doorstep of winning. Shout out to J. Kidd, man. Coaches sometimes get unfair treatment, dog. Sometimes you don't have the players. And now that he's got the horses, really good game plans against the Thunder. Really good game plan against the Timberwolves. Really, really good coaching. So shout out to J. Kidd, man. Good, smart defense. And, you know, you got two dudes that are professional expert scorers in Luka and Kyrie. Dudes are poised. Just amazing scorers, man. And to give Kyrie his props, by the way, listen, Kyrie, the record shows, right, at the beginning of his career, before LeBron came back to Cleveland, he got his, he was able to score, but he was never really a winner. But guess what? This version of Kyrie Irving, man, this version of Kyrie Irving is like, he could be a number one option. He's probably not a number one option on a championship team, but this version of Kyrie can be a number one option on a team that makes a deep run to the playoffs. Think Damian Lillard in Portland. Think Jalen Brunson in New York. Like, this version of Kyrie is not the guy who couldn't win without LeBron, who could never get over 500. Like, this version of Kyrie is better than a lot of number ones right now. So really, the Mavericks have 2 number ones on their team right now. Because Luka is freaking unstoppable. Kyrie is freaking unstoppable. And Kyrie is playing really good defense. And Luka is really making an effort on defense. I can't believe what I'm seeing. So Kyrie is just unbelievable right now. So shout out to him for getting his mind right. You know, like he's a totally different cat now, man. He's more poised. He's a leader. Kyrie Irving is a leader now. So I want to give Kyrie Irving his flowers for becoming a leader, for he's a complete basketball player now. And listen, people grow at different speeds. People mature at different rates. And Kyrie Irving has matured. And this version of Kyrie is a legit, bona fide, like, number one option. But he's playing the number 2 role. So Kyrie Irving is now the best number 2 in the league. Last year I said it was Jamal Murray with the Nuggets. Kyrie Irving is actually the best number 2 in the league now. Because he could be a number 1 on a lot of teams. Because this brother, left hand, right hand, 3-pointer, pull up, layup package, can't stop it. This brother is unstoppable offensively, and now he's defending his ass off. So ain't that many point guards in the league truly better than Kyrie Irving right now, the way he's been playing in the playoffs. So shout out to Kyrie, man. I got to give you flowers. Shout out to Kyrie. You've overcome a lot. Some of it's self-inflicted, immaturity, whatever you want to call it, right? But where he is right now, I always give props to people who improve themselves. They get the second chance and they make the best out of it. Kyrie has improved himself, and to be the man that he is right now, a true professional basketball player, is crazy to watch. It's the excellence, the preciseness, the precision in his game is unmatched. The precision in Kyrie Irving's game is unrivaled right now in basketball. His shot making, his agility, his ball handling, it's ridiculous, man. You try to body him, he can absorb contact. Like, he is that guy. So props to you, Kyrie. Major props, man. But this is really what I wanted to talk about as the headliner of this podcast episode. But I had to go on a tangent because the Timberwolves made me so upset. But here is the topic I want to talk about in this podcast. Luka Doncic. I can't believe I'm saying this, y'all. Luka Doncic is the face of the NBA. At least he should be. Luka Doncic should be the face of the NBA. And the reason why Luka Doncic isn't the face of the NBA right now is because he's not American. That's the only thing I could think of. If Luka Doncic's name was Luke Donald, we would be tired of him. he would be on every commercial. He would be on Good Morning America, like all these things. We would be tired of Luka Doncic, kind of like how people are tired of Caitlin Clark in the WNBA and women's college basketball. But Luka Doncic should be the face of the NBA, but he's not. And I think the reason why he's not is because brands, I think, are still not sure how Americans will react to an international dude being like the face of the NBA, the face of basketball. I don't know if the brands are sure how they're going to react if every other time you turn on the TV and you're watching the commercial, it's a non-American dude. Maybe the brands are still scared of that. I don't know. But I don't see any reason why Luka Doncic is not the face of the NBA. And listen, I'm the Anthony Edwards fanboy right now, okay? I am the conductor of the Anthony Edwards train right now. But to watch Anthony Edwards after that, or even during that Denver series, get all the pub and all the hype, deserved, by the way. But he gets to go on Good Morning America, and he has all of these, commercials now. And, of course, he has a personality. He has the mentality, the Mamba mentality. He goes all out. He's trying to win. Like, he talks trash. All of this stuff. He has the game to back it up. Luka Doncic has all of that and some. Luka has the personality. He has the game. He's freaking unstoppable. Like, he engages the fans. He's a true villain wherever he goes. He doesn't mind being the villain. Like, he talks trash to other players. He's in their face looking at them funny. Like, he has everything you could ask for in a superstar face of the league kind of cat. Like, he's polarizing as hell. You either love him or you hate him, really. But for some reason, I don't see him getting the face of the league superstar treatment. He complains after every call. Like, people hate that. You either love or hate Luka. So he's pretty much the same thing that Anthony Edwards is, minus the athleticism. But offensively, Luka is in a much better position than Anthony Edwards right now. Luka Doncic right now is the best offensive player in basketball in the NBA, period. You can't stop this guy from doing what he wants to do. You can't. He's too skilled. He's too masterful. Too smart. So if Luka Doncic was American, if his name was Luke Donald, this guy would be everywhere. He would be ubiquitous, to use a big word. But unfortunately, he's Luka Doncic, not Luke Donald. But he has everything, man. Luka's got everything. His package is solidified. And I want to apologize, Luka, because I used to think you were just James Harden. You were white James. You were European James Harden. Nah, fam. You're more than that. There are some similarities, but Luka's game is much more complete than James Harden. And guess what? He has more heart than James Harden, which is the most important thing. Luka Doncic may play similarly to James Harden, but he has way more heart than James Harden. Way more heart. He doesn't fold in the playoffs like James Harden, a notorious playoff choker. A notorious playoff choker in James Harden. Luka is not that guy. He's not to be messed with in the playoffs at all. So shout out to Luka, man, because Luka Doncic deserves to be the face of the league, man. LeBron can go home now. He can retire. All right? It's Luka, and then in a couple of years when Anthony Edwards gets his weight up, it's Luka, then Anthony Edwards. Ron can go, man. Nah, but seriously though, man, shout out to this dude. And the league is missing such an opportunity right now. Like, you see how the WNBA is like going crazy over Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and like the NBA can do this whole black and white thing again like they did Larry Bird and Magic Johnson if they want to. They can do this thing with Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards if they want to. Like, next year when they play, these guys should play 4 times on national TV, 5 times on national TV. They should get the Christmas Day game. The Christmas Day primetime game should go to the Mavs and the Minnesota Timberwolves next year. Because that is your matchup, right? It's not a made-up rivalry. Like they try to make up the Joker and Joel Embiid rivalry. But Joel Embiid like is always hurt, so that's not you can't have a rivalry around somebody who doesn't play. Sorry. LeBron, Steph, they weren't really true rivals because they weren't playing the same position. Like LeBron was this big, huge guy. Steph was a small guy, so they don't play the same position. They never guarded each other. Luka versus Ant-Man is the NBA's new rivalry, and I hope they take advantage of it, bro. Yeah, there's going to be some racial people taking sides. So what? Let it be. So what? Two dudes, Batman and Superman, going at each other, man. Different styles, but two great players. Two trash talkers. They talk to each other. They talk to the crowd. They don't care, man. Both got the motor you need. They go at each other. You can't stop them. That is a true rivalry. They can guard each other and go head up. That's a rivalry, man. The NBA, I hope the NBA doesn't miss this opportunity like to make this work out. Man. Yeah. Dallas and the Mavs should have Dallas and the Timberwolves should have 4 or 5 games next year, and they all should be prime time. Like after football season's over, so nothing takes your attention away from these dudes. Saturday night, Christmas game. Man. Yeah. But yeah, Luka to me should be the face of the NBA right now, ahead of Anthony Edwards. Again, Anthony Edwards is my guy. He'll get there, but he's still young. Luka right now is there. His game is so polished. It is when you watch Luka play offensively, you're like, how many dudes are really more talented offensive players than Luka slow behind? Because he's got everything. You can't speed him up. You double him, he knows where to go with the ball. Whew. I try to tell y'all, these Europeans are coming, man. Y'all ain't want to listen to me. I'm telling y'all, these Europeans are ballers, dog. And the Americans got work to do. Y'all go back and listen to those podcasts. We got some work to do in America with our basketball players because these Europeans are coming over as complete basketball players. They think the game and they play the game at a high level. But that's beside the point. Luka Doncic, NBA, I present to you the face of your league. Luka Doncic. Just freaking amazing to watch, man. Just unstoppable. Like that Game 5, he came out and said, this series, that's some Michael Jordan stuff what Luka did in Game 5, man. It really is. He's like, yo, this series is over. I'm done playing with y'all, man. Get y'all out of here. I'm done playing. Came out smoking. Bang, 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 bang. Next thing you know, they're up 15 points. It's over. It's a wrap. Now they got to double him. And then when they double him, he knows how to pass the ball. Make the right pass on time. Like, it was a wrap. Luka Doncic is the freaking face of the NBA. Like it or not. I hope the NBA gets that message. Like, this guy should be on Good Morning America, all the morning shows. Like, he should be on the commercials. Like, he has a personality. It ain't like Joker. Joker don't want to do it. All right, Joker is probably still the best player in the league, but he don't want to do it. So, Luka's the perfect guy. He has the game and the personality to be the face of the league. So why not? What are we waiting on? Let's do it. All right. That's it for the Western Conference. East Finals. I apologize, all right? There's not much to say about the Pacers and Boston series. All right? So I'm going to try to say a couple words about that series. Number one, the Pacers are fun to watch, but there's really nothing to say about that team because they probably shouldn't be there. All right? If the Knicks were healthy, the Pacers are probably not there. They're high scoring, but they're one-dimensional in that once you slow them down and get them half court, they can be guarded. Early offense, they put pressure on you to stop them. And if you don't stop that early offense, they're going to score in bunches. But once you slow that down, then what's their counter? They don't have any game in the interior. They can't dump it down in the paint to anybody. So what do? Nothing. So, of course, they were going to lose to the Celtics because the Celtics are like, okay, even though the Celtics didn't even play that, and I'll talk about that, but the Celtics didn't even play that well in that series, but the Celtics at some point were like, every fourth quarter was like, okay, let's play for real. And they shut them down. Plus, Halliburton got hurt. And here's what I will say, though. Halliburton has to play much better defense because his backup, Andrew Nembhard, played really, really well on offense, and he looked amazing on offense, and he played really, really good on defense. So going into next year, I don't know, man, because I see Andrew Nembhard doing some of the same things Halliburton does with better defense. So, listen, I didn't watch the Pacers all year closely to see anything like that. I know Halliburton put up a lot of stats, but last couple of games in these playoffs, Andrew Nembhard put up a lot of stats offensively, and he played really good defense. So if Halliburton wants to keep his spot, he's going to have to start D'ing dudes up. Because right now he does nothing on the point of attack. He does nothing on defense, and dudes go at him at will. So that's really all I had to say about the Pacers. They really shouldn't be there. Heck of an effort. But it only seems that way because the Celtics play with them. Play with the food, which takes me to my point. The Boston Celtics continue to be disappointing. Continue to disappoint. I just wish this team would just look dominant for once. Like 4 games to just dominate the Pacers, man. That's your chance of knock these dudes out for 4 games. They did 1 game, but they should have lost like at least 2 games, if not 3. But the Pacers had no closers. So the Celtics, I don't know, man. Despite your talent, I love Jaylen Brown. I love Jayson Tatum. I get on them because I want these guys to be so much better than they are, man. To have, especially Jayson Tatum, to just have a much better motor, a bigger motor that runs hotter. So I get on them and I talk bad about them because I'm like a parent that wants the best for their kids, man. I feel like there's so much there for so much talent in these dudes, but they're not going to reach it because they just don't max it out. The saddest thing in life, I'll repeat it again, is wasted talent. Go watch A Bronx Tale for those who haven't watched A Bronx Tale, one of the best movies ever. So it's crazy sitting there watching Jayson Tatum. Like, there's a reason why Jayson Tatum led the team in points, rebounds, and assists, and didn't win the MVP of the conference finals. There's a reason why. Because he was like riding along for most of the series. Instead of being the head of the snake, he was like just riding along, going along for the ride. Like, you can't think throughout this whole playoffs for the Celtics, you can't think of a moment where you're like, oh man, Jayson Tatum took this game over. Derek White had moments. Jaylen Brown had moments. Hell, I'm watching Al Horford drain threes like crazy. You can't think of and Jayson Tatum would end the game with like 25, 28 points, but they're some of the quietest points ever, man. Listen, you're going to go into this Mavs series, and I'll make my prediction in a bit. You're going to go into this Mavs series. The Celtics aren't going to be able to beat the Mavs if Jayson Tatum is playing shotgun and not the driver. I'm telling y'all that right now. So despite Jayson Tatum leading the team in points, rebounds, assists, he doesn't win the conference finals MVP because he was a passenger and he wasn't a driver. He didn't stamp this series. This was a chance to stamp this series and say, hey, man, I got this. 4 straight games, no doubt about it. Bang, 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 set the tone, but he never did. But you would look up and he'll have 25, 28 points. So people who love stats are going to say, oh, man, he had a great series. Look at his stats. But at no point were you like, Jayson Tatum is controlling this series against the Pacers. At no point did you feel like that. Nice numbers, but very little impact. not nearly impactful enough as he should be as a 1A on the Celtics. And that's the problem with this team. And that you can't trust the best player to play like the best player every time. So other people have said it. Josh Hart this week said it, like Derek White is more impactful. I'm like, damn, Josh Hart read my notes. Derek White had more moments of impact throughout the whole playoffs than Jayson Tatum, despite not nearly being as skilled, beside his numbers not being nearly being as good as Jayson Tatum's numbers. But you could see the impact on defense and offense of Derek White. But Jayson Tatum is like going along for the ride. Like when you lose to the Cavs, that's a Jayson Tatum game. That's like, we're not losing to the damn Cavs. When you lose to the Heat, that's a Jayson Tatum opportunity to say, I'm not losing to the Miami Heat. I don't care what y'all do. You guys are undermanned. You guys have a bunch of injuries. We're not losing to the Miami Heat. That's a Jayson Tatum type of a statement that he needs to make. Donovan Mitchell's out for the Cavs. Jayson Tatum needs to make a statement and say, we're going to blow this team out, man. Forget about it. You guys aren't even going to have a chance to be within 10 points of us. We're taking off. That's what Luka does. That's what Jayson Tatum needs to be. So, yeah, they're a great team, talented team. They're the most talented team, talented roster in the league. They clearly have better talent than the Mavs. But unfortunately, nobody knows what they're going to do because their best player doesn't always play like their best player. And that trickles down to the rest of the team. And it sucks to watch. And if I'm the Celtics coach, I'm freaking yelling at Jayson Tatum like, yo, bro, we can't have you being a passenger. I know your numbers look nice. We can't have you be a passenger. And people are wondering why. Well, why does Jayson Tatum not get mentioned in the top, 3, 4, 5 best players in the NBA? It's because we watch the playoffs and we watch him just coast through, man. Like if Jayson Tatum had actually played like the player that had the talent up to his talent, like the Celtics would be sitting on going for their third ring right now, at least going through their third straight championship. If Jayson Tatum had lived up to his abilities, because he is one of the most skilled cats in this league, if Jayson Tatum had lived up to his abilities, the Celtics definitely would have beaten the Warriors 2 years ago because they had the much better team than the Warriors. They would have beaten the Warriors. The Warriors would have had no, but he let freaking Andrew Wiggins take him out of the games. So if Jayson Tatum plays to the best of his abilities and that whole team plays to their abilities, to their talent, the Celtics have one ring against the Warriors, 22. They come back the following year, damn it, they lose to the Heat. There is no way a Jayson Tatum-led Boston Celtics team this stacked should have lost to the Heat last year, but they did. So you should have at least went to the finals and played the Nuggets. And this would have been your third consecutive finals appearance. So the Celtics should be sitting on their third consecutive finals appearance and at least one ring. But they're not because you can't trust them. You can't trust their best player to play like their best player every night. You can't trust them to be on their game every night. So they play with their food against the Heat. They play with their food against the Cavs. And they play with their food against the Pacers. There has not been a moment throughout this whole playoff run where you're like, man, the Celtics are just dominating everybody. They're going to wax whoever comes out of the West, even though they're the most talented team. Not one time did anybody say that this playoff run. So now you expect me to believe they're going to turn it on against the Mavs? I don't know, brother. I do not know. And I doubt that they'll do that. You could blame the coach all you want. They play analytics ball. They shoot a lot of three-pointers. At some point, as the best player on the team, you're supposed to set the tone, man. And Jayson Tatum, bro, you got to set the tone for your team, man. Set the tone. Set the emotional tone. Like Anthony Edwards sets the emotion and tone. He comes with the swagger for the Minnesota Timberwolves. You need to set the emotional tone for your team, bro, and they'll follow. But that Pacers series and that whole playoff run, you look like you were just happy to be there, bro. I'm just happy to get my 25, 28, 30 points, my boards, my assists. I look good doing it. But when we watch the games, we don't see that. We don't see that driver, bro. We see you as a passenger. You got driver skills. Play like the driver, Jayson Tatum. Play like the driver. So we'll see. So that's your finals right there, ladies and gentlemen. You got the Mavs and you got the Celtics. After saying all that, I don't know if I can pick the Celtics. I hope they prove me wrong. It would make me so proud. It would make me so proud. And I'm not a Celtic fan, but it would make me so proud if Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown turn it up a notch and just kick some butt. But I don't trust them. So I'm going with the Mavs in 7. I don't think Luka can be stopped, although people say the Celtics got defenders. I don't think there is a defender that's adequate for Luka Doncic. If you put Tatum on him, he'll tire him out. You put Jaylen Brown on him, he'll tire him out, and he's too small. He'll wear them out. Kyrie can't be stopped. He's going to get his buckets. And most importantly, those guys play with more heart. They got the hotter motors. Yeah, Porzingis is going to be back. I hope he's back. He's going to make a difference, definitely. Derek White, love and respect this guy. Drew Holiday, love Drew. So on paper, the Celtics have the matchups. Because there is nobody who can really defend Jayson Tatum either when he's on his stuff. Jaylen Brown, there's really nobody on Dallas that could guard Jaylen Brown when he's on his stuff. He's too good. And they're both two-way players. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, both two-way players. Derek White, two-way player. Drew Holiday, two-way player. Like, the Boston Celtics have all these guys who can switch on defense, two-way player. They have all of this talent. They have everything in their favor for the modern NBA to win this NBA Finals. And I'm still picking the Dallas Mavericks because they just have the dudes, man. They have the dogs. Their dogs have a bigger bite than the dogs on the other team. So I'm picking the Dallas Mavericks. Luka goes bananas. He's unstoppable. Kyrie has the experience in the finals. He's unstoppable. And I think Gafford feeds off of Luka and Kyrie. And Derek Jones is making three-pointers now. This guy was never a three-point shooter. He feeds off of Luka and Kyrie. And Lively gets these lobs, and he catches the ball out of the double team. He makes smart decisions. He feeds off of Luka and Kyrie. Like, all of these guys feed off of Luka and Kyrie. So Dallas is not as deep as the Celtics. And Celtics have more chess pieces, you would think, on the board who can do more things on a basketball court than the Dallas Mavericks. But right now, I cannot pick the Celtics. I have to go with the Mavs. Mavericks, world champions, 23-24, Game 7. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. So that's my prediction, y'all. Mavericks in 7. Celtics more talented. Mavericks got more dogs. And sometimes, really a lot of times in basketball, I've said it before, sometimes we overanalyze basketball. We make it seem like it's so complex. Sometimes basketball is just that simple, bro. The teams who plays harder, smarter, and makes the shots usually win. The Mavs can score with anybody. They play smart and they play harder. I think they play harder than the Celtics. And that's why I think they win. So we'll see. We'll see, y'all. Man, season's almost over. I really expected more from the latter part of the playoffs. I expected better competition. It just didn't turn out that way. Kind of disappointed in how the Wolves went out, but it is what it is. But I'm going to leave it there, y'all. I appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Tell me what you think. What do you think? I always, look forward to hearing what people have to say. But yeah. Man, oh man. Competitive spirit. What's up with these dudes, man? Anyway, they going to get me started again. I don't want to get started. So I'm going to catch y'all next time, man. Mike, sports and the real shit. Be good, y'all. Peace.
I'm going straight to the top. Just put the stack on the clock. I am Ray Allen's a shot. I'm going straight to the top.